Howdys and salutations, y'all! How we doing this fine evening? Or morning, or whenever it may happen to be for y'all. Hopefully good. Whether or not I'm chatting to an empty room, I'm having a good evening, so I'm happy to chat. And I've got some good news based on where we left off last time. As y'all may recall, I'd been messing around with that hue layer. And not exactly getting the greatest of results. As you may remember, even a bold red turns into nothing. Well, it turns out that I did check the Ask forums, and I gotta say, the Clip Studio Paint community responded darn fast. It was like under half an hour. Sorry, 1 second. I have to turn down the music just a tiny bit. I can't hear my own thoughts. There we go, there we go. Hopefully that's still reasonably loud for y'all. But yeah, no, I was just being dumb. They helped, they got that sorted out real quick. What we actually want is the color. So I'm glad we didn't waste the whole evening on that and just went into shading instead. Speaking of which, we can pop that back on. And this needs to go back to clipped. There we go. Get a little texture. Hey, welcome, Foxcoon 2011. Thanks for dropping by. We were just prepping some ArtFight character sheets. Or, well, at the moment, just one. Hopefully we'll get to others, but the end of the month approaches ominously fast. How are you doing? I've just been messing around with the types of layers here, and thanks to some help on the CSP forums, got some answers. Glad you're doing good. Been trying to use a hue layer on this, but as it turns out, if you have gray, there's no saturation, so the hue layer's saturation defaults to 0, and you get no color. Oops. So yeah, we need the color layer. That's my bad. Color, we should be... Yep. Let's make sure we're not drawing with the eraser. And try this again. So yep, now we can get color in here. Awesome! Oh, thanks for following! What brings you to my stream on this fine, well, evening for me, whenever time it may be for you? Of course, no pressure. Like, you know, lurking is also a-okay. I think I actually have a lurk command built in, and I just forgot to make a notice or tell anyone. probably ought to update that at some point. It's been in there for like not 2 years, but like one. Nearly one. There. Okay, so now no colors outside of it, plenty of color here, and as you can see, well, it's not going to catch it on the shadows, but oh, nice! Yeah, I always love to see us run into fellow streamers too. Fun to see what people are up to. And yeah, we definitely qualify for small stream right now. I don't do a lot of promotion. I'm just sort of hanging out. This is as much just an excuse to have an art practice routine as it is to actually stream. I'm going to be honest. But it's fun. It's fun actually chatting people and getting stories. If you don't mind me asking, what type of art do you like to do? Oh, hey! Congratulations! Yeah, I'll be honest, streaming's a lot of fun. It's, as long as you're not, like... as long as you're not streaming to, like, just, like, for money or whatever, which I feel like most people aren't at this point, or, like, to get a fan base right out the gate, because it's definitely a slow burn. You can do things to make it a slightly less slow burn, but it's, you know, you gotta enjoy it for what it is. If you find you're just doing it because it's the thing to do, then it kind of gets tiring after a while. Oh, characters! Oh, cool. Yeah, I've been messing around with character design lately, especially for streaming. I mean, it's good for streaming. You can actually tell stories and like have fun scenes and stuff. Personally, I actually like architectural drawings the most, but they're not so much digitally. I like going with like pencil and paper and actually drawing stuff. Not so many opportunities for that though. Yeah, well, we're getting to... You've come in at a good time for character streams. This is Salt. Started out as a Dungeons & Dragons NPC character who has sort of taken on a life of her own. And yeah, we're trying to get her ArtFight sheet, or her character sheet ready for ArtFight. I guess that's an ArtFight sheet. And if you want to see how far we've come from last year, it's cheapers. It's embarrassingly rough, but here's last year's character sheet. You can see why I'm redoing it. Still, I mean, for that time, it was actually a big improvement of where I had been. So I can't look at it with too much like cringe, because you know, it was improvement. But now we can do better. So much better. I just realized I'm gonna do a quick fix on the shadow layer, not to get distracted, stinking right out the gate like I always do. But yeah. Actually, oh, no worries. No one is, especially not at the start. I mean, heck, I started this stream way before I was confident I was actually good at art. I'm probably still not. But I figured, like, hey, it's fun to. That's one of the fun things about small streaming too, is you run into other artists who are still like at various skill levels, and you can actually be like, oh, hey, other people who are kind of mid at art. We can exchange notes, get ideas, learn little tips and tricks that aren't from someone who's so masterful that it's like difficult to even figure out what their tips and tricks are, but just like little relevant things. That's part of the fun. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this one's you better believe this one's taken some finagling, but we're getting there. If you ever want to share your art, not to do the promo, but I do have a Discord, and far and away the most active channel is just people sharing their own art, because that's the fun part. I always love to see what other people are working on. Before I get carried away fixing shadows, I should probably actually work on our color palette. Now, this is... Okay, let's do this on the flats layer for now. No worries, no worries. Definitely don't blame anyone for not having some social media platform or other. There's, like, so many of them out there, it's impossible to choose, and half of them are, like, toxic in one way or another, so there's not like oh, here's the perfect social media platform. It gets so complicated. I need to, like, I should probably post on Twitter to actually like promote my streams and stuff, but it's stinking awful. Not okay, I mean, Twitter, the platform itself has issues, but just I don't like having to take the time to do social media. It's not fun. But Discord is fun. It's kind of a different, more personal, in my opinion, but you know. Look, I'm not here to pitch Discord to you either. Every social media has its ups and downs, and there is something to be said about steering clear of the whole mess. Okay, so let's see. Before we get into dealing with all the shading and everything, I need to actually work on my stinking color palette for Salt. Because last time's color palette was pick random colors and then pick other random colors using various dials I didn't fully understand to try to get shadows. This worked kind of. Let's see if we can't do a slightly better job this time around. Although I'm still like, I make no promises of greatness. Let's get something. I mean, I still like bouncy and colorful art, so I can't go too low saturation. But we can get something that's like a little more mild. Here we can. Yeah. Maybe that can be our red. The white, I want it to really pop, so I'm going to have it actually be like a very slightly blue off-white. That way we get... Oh, that's too blue. I mean, like, very slightly blue. That's too gray. Let's just chuck it way up here. Yeah, it doesn't look great against the background, but those two together have a nice pop against each other, because we've got the warm red and then the almost white. I could probably go all the way to actual white on it, and I'll consider doing that, but... For now, let's test this. And then what else have we got to have in here? I need at least 2 brown tones for the various natural, or, well, natural and neutral, I suppose. Natural tones. And Fox, like, feel free, like, I have, well, it's been a while since I've said it, but I like to say that this is very much a backseat arting friendly stream. If you've got ideas, like, feel free to chuck them out there. You don't have to. I ain't grading. Like, this ain't a participation assignment. But I'm always happy to hear suggestions. Or just thoughts or ideas or concepts or what have you. Let's get into the browns. Fun fact about brown, it's literally just dark orange. Fun fact about gold, it's basically also that. Just slightly different oranges. Boom, kind of a gold. Actually, that's not a bad beige either. It's so contextual. I feel like it doesn't necessarily... Alright, let's... Fox Raccoon mix. Gonna have to pull some references up for that. Give me a second to work out the color palette, then yeah, I'd be happy to go and have a go at that for a second. Let's see. Just got to do a little more. I want to get something that I can work with here. Yeah, of course. That's a decent beigey tone actually. That might work with some of the. How's that look on the actual? Oh, let me test it on our actual hue layer. Looks a little. Actually, it's not bad. Getting like a slightly more mustardy vibe than I want to from it, but it's not terrible. We could go for like a more reddish brown for the other one to get some contrast. I want it to be a hair darker anyway. Whoops, wrong layer. How's that look? Always on the wrong layers with this. Oh yeah, those don't work together well at all. Okay, hold on. A little rough on the boots. Work on the boots. I like it for the boots, but it's making me think I actually want to go with a slightly different thing for the tunic-y color. Because I like this warm brown. I think it works nicely with the red. Let me clear out my scribbles here. Let's see. Zip-a-doo, zip-a-dee, zip-a-da. We're going to go back to this one, but we're going to mess with it a little more. Low saturation, let's get a little more orangey. Then I guess medium saturation and lighter maybe? It almost feels like a skin tone. Yeah, okay, see you in a bit. Let's see. Much as I am very much open to requests, I always wonder when I offer that and I get something that's unrelated to the stream if I should really be doing like a commission or something. We'll figure it out some other time. Hey May, how are you? Jeepers, those are way too close together like this. Okay. Maybe going yellowy on one and reddish on the other was the right choice after all. Aw, sorry your head's hurting ya. Never fun. Let's see. Final comparison. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, yeesh, that's never fun. Well, hopefully we can keep some nice, calm music that won't aggravate it worse anyway. My old computer teacher had a similar issue, so we had a lot of very quiet days in the computer lab, which was honestly kind of nice. Hey, welcome back, Fox. Give me just a minute. I'll, still messing with colors. Let's see. Ooh. That's no fun. We need to go even more yellow. Let's chuck this. Not sure about that. Doubly not sure about that. I always get so caught up at this stage. We just need to go for something like lighter satch. Actually, building a color palette's always so difficult for me anyway. Yep, too close together still. Well, I'm glad you're at least able to cope with it, but still sorry you have to deal with that. Let's see. So I'm gonna need the 2 browns. Got our red, we've got our white. We could go for like a dark, almost blackish on the bottom of the shoes if we really want. Well, the red for that, or possibly the white. And then the only other thing that really leaves is... Oh, okay. Hair and skin tone are the other 2 we're gonna need. And honestly... Oh yeah, you gotta be careful about what you say. Yeah, don't want any Twitch liability or anything. I mean, this is a family-friendly stream, but it's still not a family-friendly platform, technically. So, you know. Exercise caution. Let's see. Honest to goodness, I actually just like this one for the hair and boots. Like, super not the right. Right. I think Twitch is technically, don't quote me on this, I'll have to double check it. I thought it was like 13 and up. I'll have to double check. I know that's generally the standard because it's based on a lot of US law. Yeah. Most of them are, and the reason for that actually has to do with advertising laws, that there's certain advertisements you can't aim at children under that age. And I guess teens and preteens under that age as well, because it's considered too manipulative, which is what YouTube got in a lot of hot water about, because their platform said 13 and up, but then they were telling advertisers like, yo guys, we got a bunch of kids on our platform, come advertise to kids, which is super illegal. And instead of doing anything about it, they bumped all of the threat to the users. So that's why everyone has to mark their videos as not for kids now. It's really stupid and didn't solve the problem at all. Yeah, YouTube as a platform is a little scummy, I'm not gonna lie. By the way, hi YouTube viewers. Oh, hey Scopic, how are you? Good. Let's see. I'll probably go like a little lighter on that. Problem is, it really is a good like video archiving platform, which is what I use it for. Let's get that down here. Oh, so we got a skin tone. Gonna have to debate on the 2 browns because I genuinely don't want this to all just be like 1 brown, even though we've got enough variance in it that it could probably work. Still, whoops. Well, not if I do that. Still, like, makes it really boring. We want a little more pop. Although sepia salt's kind of fun. Realizing I've got some gaps in my base values. I ought to fix that. Yeah, you know, I think that gets the gist of it at least. We don't necessarily need the details on ages. Don't want anyone to accidentally dox themselves. Let's see. Boopity-doo-doo-doo-doo. This brown color works for some things. I'm trying to decide what I like it on and what I don't. Let's compare it to this one. Lighting life hack. Really bad lighting life hack. I'm realizing that one... The only reason it looks this nice sandy color is because of the saturation, I guess. Because over top all the others, it's not great. Yeah, no, I feel you, though. Do. I think I'm gonna dump that color. Aw, yeah. think typing too fast gets everyone into trouble at some point or other. I've got to stop. Hold on, there we go. Let's see. I'm going to take a glance at the old one to compare, because we've come a long way from that. I think we can get a better color palette than this last one. I kind of like this brown for the hat. I just need to think up some other details for what's going to work best for the tunic and some of the other pieces. But perhaps something lighter in a different way. That's going to get a skin tone, isn't it? Oh, it totally is. Yep, and then if we put that on the base hues... Oh, it's just slightly more vibrant. Oh, that one's nice. I like that poppier one for the tunic, maybe? Okay, we've got some stuff to experiment with. But first off, I do believe we had a request that I'm going to have to go break open Pinterest for real quick. Let's see what we can do. Because we had a request for a raccoon-fox hybrid. And I don't know if I can deliver on that, truth be told, but we're going to try. Let's crack this open. 0.6 point. What day is it? 20th. Jeepers. Been working on this for too many days. Ourselves something a little different, kind of a snowier palette, maybe. And I'm going to try to work out... Let's see if we can't follow a halfway decent process on this. Where did I put my timer? Yes. I found that new designs seem to work better for me when I time myself to prevent it from getting too crazy. So we can get some fun poses from this reference. Oh, it's a poster even. Thanks, Redbubble. Sure, who made that? And was it Redbubble? Okay, I mean, concept-wise, that's the cutest option. So, let's go with that then. Let's get our normal. Let's just block in a shape, although this isn't going to be much of a shape, truth be told. We're just going to get a big ol' cute blob. And I'm going to jump into a little bit of transparency just to try to clear up some forms a little bit. Oh, hold on, we can do bigger than that. This phase is just kind of some rough stuff. It'll be the start. Ah, yes, of course, gotta save it. Let's see what we can do with this. That down, crack open a new layer. And try to keep it nice and quiet so we don't make any headaches bad. Now let's get a little bit of line work going in here. I like this general pose, but I'm going to have to figure out how to work in the raccooniness. They're fun critters. And I'm not sure I'd actually want to meet one properly. Well, it depends. Depends on the situation, I suppose. raccoon tails anyway. They're fairly... they're like medium length. You shall be my reference, raccoon boy. Not gonna really nestle too well in, is it? I'm gonna probably be able to see legs or something at least. Interesting. Okay, so we've got box ref, raccoon ref, and then I had found a cute little pose doc. Calling it a pose doc. It's just a lovely poster, just so we've got our references sorted out. And let's see what we can do. They both got kind of rounded, but not like fully round ears. That's fun. Alright, this is actually going to be a better ear ref based on head angle, so that's fine. Get broad strokes in here first, and then we'll think about the other stuff. So that fox one's pose, just for clarity, basically head here, there, we've got like ear, a bit more of head, that, kind of nose into eyes, that looks silly. And then it's got a big old poofy tail that basically covers the entirety of the body, which is just sort of implied to wrap around. I guess really what they're doing is they've got this a little more over to the side, not centered. Wait, this looks more believably like neck. Okay. So if that's the pose loosely that we're thinking of, then I'm going to do another layer where we try to actually like get ourselves some sort of foxy raccoon thing going. Because they're both cute critters in their own right. I'm trying to think about distinctive features on each of these. Let's put that on the right layer. That is why we put our old layers at lower opacity. Otherwise, I would never catch anything. Just looking sillier and sillier. Hold on, let me check raccoon faces. Okay, they're not actually too far off. This nose is obviously too long for both of them. Let's see. I feel like if I go too far down this rabbit hole, I'm just going to end up with a tanuki. Which, I mean, is hardly the worst thing in the world. I don't like the knowing look on that face. Hold on. That was giving me, like, stinking Doge vibes a tiny bit, and that's not what we need right now. I mean, we're probably gonna end up with that regardless with this mouth the way it is, but you know. Oh, let's make that a little steeper at least. A little less pig-like, mayhaps? Maybe. Nope, that's more pig-like. Our kind of colored areas are definitely going to fade into each other. That's going to be an issue. We can kind of go for we can still go for a fairly fluffy tail. Gonna have to have the raccoon pattern on it. That's way too boxy. That other fox breath real quick. No, they just, I guess theirs really did just kind of go up to the ear, curve over. Oh, but they had the curve of the head going in front of this ear. That makes more sense. Okay, let's try that. That'll probably work better with perspective. Not to say that some of the ear can't be on top of it, but you know. There we go, there we go. Let's see. Those out, clear those out. Good, that line's on a different layer. And then, I don't know, we may have to just kind of fudge this angle a little bit because it's going to be a tough one to get. Try something really dumb and actually have like a paw over the tail. Gonna cause some weird warpy things and make this much more complicated than it needed to be. And I need to actually find a stinking fox paw reference. Oh, there we go. Okay, that'll do. There we go. Now the thickness, well, it matched, then I messed it up. There we go. Let's see. How far up do the raccoon stripes go? Sorry, I realized I just went super quiet there. Okay, I guess not that far. You know, a little tuft of something, perhaps. hair tufts. See. Oops. Let's make sure we don't do that. I had to do some like actual. I was about to say I had to do some actual fan art. I've spent like 3 months on a stinking Mikola piece and haven't finished it. Maybe I should do less fan art. Okay. Nah, but for real, it's Oh, yep, that didn't. I can always tell when it goes into loading mode that I've messed up and it's going to try to color the whole background. I've got some pieces that I guess are just too open. Is it this? Got maximum close gap on. I think. The main area I see that it could be getting out. Let's start with that. Wrong color, but yeah, that does seem to have solved it. Okay, we'll take a brush, fill in a little more of this. Make sure we got this whole thing shaded. Oh, we're getting to see the closest thing I have anyway to a quick draw process. That's always fun. Okay, we've got our lines, we've got our flats. Now we can have fun with a little bit of color. Now, one more thing I want to do on this line layer real quick. Zip that in there, and then let's go. And then we'll get back on the ArtFight. But let's add a little color to this first real quick. Don't want to make too long of a detour on this, fun as it is. And there's my timer going off, which means this is usually about as far as I get in those 15-minute timers. Which is good, because otherwise I can spend stinking all day on the line work. Which, as you can imagine, isn't great. Looking at you, Mikola Project. Yeah, that project has gotten out of hand. I need to just bite the bullet and finish it, but after ArtFight. Like, I'm happy to do something that isn't it for a little while. Because at this point, I don't know that that Mikola is even going to be like crazy difficult. It's just going to take some time. Okay, let's get this going. Foxcoon, you enjoying it so far? Let me know if anything looks like horribly off. They kind of both have beady eyes, don't they? Oh, no, foxes are a little less beady. A little bit. How's that look zoomed out? Just about right. Everyone I used for that, let's just use for the nose too. Nice, nice cozy gray. It's not quite black. Kind of modern, but also just comfortable. And I am like still streaming, right? Good, 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 good. I always have to double check that every once in a while just to make sure. And get this going in here. Don't have to be super precise on it just yet. In any case, I'm probably going to want most of the fluff to match that color anyway. Well, at least on this one up here. Maybe less so on this side one. Probably. Maybe not. It won't pop better if I don't do that. Let this match whatever color we go for the inside, which again is probably still going to be fairly dark. But we've got to get that lovely little fox patch down here too. Always gives them their sort of clever mustachioed vibe. Oops. Got a larger brush. There we go. Edges are easy to clean up, but filling takes forever. In any case, edges that are a little off are fun, but edges that are a lot off are not. Okay, here we go. From this one. Nope, even one more down. Add this color for these tail stripes real quick. Then, let's see. Truthfully, I'm kind of enjoying this gray that we've got, but I've got an idea that'll give it just a little more kick. Then, we'll might do a tiny bit of shadowing, probably not a ton. Let's take whatever this is. Let's crack open our color wheel on it. Hold on, let's get that again. We won't mess with that. Let's go into our brown, our reddish browns rather. Scoot our way over a little bit to be something maybe a tad more orangey. Just a little bit reddish. Nothing crazy. Just try to kind of split the difference between the raccoon and the fox and see where we land. It looks like we're landing at bear, but that's okay. That might have been slightly too big of a brush. Whoops. Part of the challenge with the bigger brushes on this one is that when you make the brush bigger, it makes the texture bigger, so you actually end up with rougher edges. Which is a really interesting problem, because, like, I don't know, oftentimes I like the rough edges, but then you, like, have to be careful about if you're trying to do them in a narrow space, you'll get the rough edges at the expense of trampling everything else with a really large brush. So it's kind of a balancing act for some of those. Let's see. Keeping this up. Just to check in, can y'all still hear me? Like, am I talking to a void? Did I disconnect on the stream or something? Because or maybe Rovan just had to head out. I don't know, or the internet crashed. One of those things. Something happened, I think. But we'll get back to ArtFight in just a minute, as soon as we get this posted. We'll clean up our edges. The brown has to cover so much area. I should have just done it first. I like the edge on this brush because it actually ends up looking a little bit like fluff, so I don't mind it getting kind of out of the edges a little bit and having the pattern to it. But I do still want it to be like somewhat reasonable. Almost a lot of the brown is like gone a little too much out of its own area. There we go. Oh, from the brush size, that wasn't right. There. Not to sound pitiful, but like, where'd everyone go? Did I genuinely go down? It's just, I don't know, it felt like it got cut off mid-conversation on a lot of stuff. I mean, this was an art request. I'd hope to at least run into Foxcoon just so that I can actually get them the thing they asked for. Gonna have to go check my stream stats. Hold on. Stream info. No. Twitch stats. I am live, right? It says I got 2 viewers. Maybe I'm just going crazy. As much as I want to do like a little bit more shading on this, I feel like I need to go figure out what's going on with the stream first. And also that I ought to take a restroom break real quick. So it's really a good opportunity to take care of a few things. I'm going to do just like a tiny bit of shading. This is probably going to be way too dark. Yeah, I thought so. Just mainly in here. I'll give it a little more depth, help the head pop a little more. A little bit going on some of these. And we can get like a little bit going on. Oops, hold on, let me put that to the layer so we don't have to worry about the edges. That I was just going to do a little bit of shading, and I've gone and done more than I should have, truthfully, but that's okay. And this little tiny paw is looking so utterly ridiculous. Let's at least, like... that kind of raccoony vibe. Whoops, that needs to be on the multiply layer, yes? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Oh, and then I suppose. A quick little thing. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take a few minutes, make sure I'm not having like a technical difficulty issue, and I will be right back with y'all. See you in just a couple. Howdys and salutations, y'all. Sorry for the wait there. When I went in to check some other stuff, I realized, oops, there's some things I haven't updated on my stream in a while. Like the fact that it said I was going to be taking a break for the month of April. It's June. Also the fact that my follower goal was still at 25 and we're up to 43, which I'm super thankful for. But I don't know how long I left that. Because we don't get followers like every single day, which is, makes it a fun special occasion. But it also means that I should pay closer attention to my stream dashboard, probably. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get back into some salt colors, and let's see what we can do. Let's see. I like how much that pops. Let's try just that one, and then throwing on the other color accents. But first... this needs a little bit of fixing up in. Grab that. Hide it. And then let's actually stinking color in a few things on this layer, shall we? Oops, oops. Hey. Get a considerably finer tuned brush to actually do some edge cleanup. As much as I like the rough edge look, it is not great when there's a layer underneath it that just shows through gray. So let's do a little bit of fixing up in real quick. Thought so. And we could wait to clean this up, but there's not going to be a better time to do it, really. So we may as well do it now. Happening there. I need to... hold on. Looks like some went over and then I just used the fill tool to clean it up, which is probably what happened. And the fill tool doesn't play too nice with... I forget what it's called in this. Basically anti-aliasing. Maybe it is called that in this, too. But where rather than just having a hard edge of pixels, it actually creates a nice little gradient. You see some of these are actually the color, and then there's like this soft little gradient in the other ones. Fill tool doesn't play nice with those. That's also why a lot of the times when you download an image from the internet, in addition to, there's other issues with them too most of the time, and weird gradients that you don't necessarily want to be there. But one of the common issues is that anti-aliasing means that your fill tool ends up with these horrible blurred edges on everything. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-aliasing. It's a really nice thing to have. But there's moments where it is unhelpful. The one loose pixel there. Messing with these ones is probably a little too nitpicky, but I'd still rather clean them up if I could. And I can. Whoops. Why wouldn't I? Have this one. Get it sorted out, and then clean up the edge down here. Yeah, okay. Now it needs to be this one. We'll deal with that with shadows. We may already have dealt with that with shadows. Dealing with that with shadows. Which, of course, are rougher in their own way, but it's fun when it's on the shadows. It's bad when it's your background colors. And, we may decide we don't want it on the shadows either, honestly. We'll see. There we go. I forgot the other side. Okay, there's two things that we need to fix on this one. Yeah, there's a couple, but two main ones. One of them is we've got the hat now, and we just straight up didn't have this part of the hat before. Of course we need to fix that. There's a little bit of edge cleanup with this. This isn't really one of the two main ones that needs to be fixed, though, but I should. I need detail on this. And then awful lot of stuff going on with this one. Right, now the only difference on this one appears to be really small areas. Good. Now let's check the same on this one. I already see one issue on the sleeve. The only areas are the knuckle, the sleeve, and that tiny little bit of the scarf. I don't even know why there's a line there still. There shouldn't be. There we go. Little cleanup on this. This is one of the things I could nitpick it forever. Well, not forever, but for a long time. But I'm really just trying to prioritize the main things. I say as I get like 3 pixel gaps, but you know. And the knuckles. There we go. Okay, now even if we haven't got the flats under there, I'm not messing with anything. Nice. Okay, that's what we want. Now when we go to the colors, it's actually colored in all the way and doesn't have all the weird gaps and breaks and pauses and bumps. Right. We still want the flats though. I'm going to do some rough color filling real quick on the base hues layer. We were looking at this for a skin tone. We'll see if we want to continue that. Yeah. Because it may not work with the new color palette, even if it was a fine skin tone in its own right earlier. Generally bad if you look more jaundiced than your hat. But we also don't want everything to be the same color, so let's just do some quick rough fills in on this, and then we will go from there. There we go. I don't think this is going to be the color we go with for the skin tone, truth be told. Do those need to be skin tone? I don't think they do. Whoops. Last time we went back and forth a lot, but we ended up keeping the amount of stuff that's red fairly limited. But what happened there? Hold on. I just missed part of it somehow? That's just like a weird line that shouldn't be there. Oh, it is. Oop. Ah, that's okay. One more gap in this. There's the line. People are enjoying the Passpartout music. Ever since we played that, the soundtrack has just been wonderful. Quite enjoyed it. And we thought about, the reason I was even bothering with that was we thought about making, oops, let's get the flats back. Making the gems red too, so that they sort of fit together with the whole theme. I worry that's going to pop too much down here when we don't really want it to. Like the dark tone for the shoes, honestly. We'll see if we keep that, but for now, I'm liking it. Huh. Must be another gap. Yep. Well enough that it's not a detail I'm too worried about. One more thing that'll pop. Oh, right, hold on. While we're still on this color. On the hues. Let us do the hair as well. Ah, no. I had to undo the color pick, which in fact does not work, as it turns out. I knew it didn't work, and I still tried to do it anyway. Just instinct. I trust the undo tool. Too much, probably. Okay. Okay, now that's popping more. But it's still got a couple of small issues. First off, it's not popping enough. We need to make the tunic separate from the leather pieces and the hat. And second off, the skin tone doesn't work with the current color scheme. Those are really the two issues. Oops, that's the wrong color. No, hold on. Yo, Muffant, how are you doing? Thanks for dropping by the stream. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been on there. How are the animations going? Well, I guess first I ought to say I'm doing ArtFight prep. But yeah, how's the animations going? Hey, Aisune Kit. Welcome. Y'all doing good this, well, it's evening for me. I don't know what time of day it is for y'all. It's part of the fun of Twitch. Let's see, there we go. Well, thank y'all for dropping by. Always fun to see people. Hold on, I paused chat. There we go. See. Well, I guess it's never a bad time to go ahead and do the typical blurb. Yeah, welcome. So, welcome to Sif Streams. Sifmir here. I'm, I guess Howdys and Salutations is usually how I greet folks, but I'll be honest, you caught me kind of off guard. It's been a slow night, which is usually fine. I'm happy just muttering to myself and doing drawings, but happy to have people too. Yeah, welcome. What we're doing right now is we're working on ArtFight character sheets. This is Salt. We're still working on the color scheme, if that's not clear. Hey! Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, so this will be fun. I'm trying to get all my character sheets in order for ArtFight. It's... that deadline's looming closer and closer. We've got like 11 days left. I'm like, ooh. But I want to get a few on there. Just because it's a ton. Last year was my... I knew about it 2 years ago, but last year was my first time actually doing it. And, yeah, no, definitely. It's so fun. Let me pull up what we did last year, because it's not great, but it's sort of one of those fun to see progress over time things. Because last year, this is what our character sheet for Salt was. Salt, this character, by the way, was an old D&D NPC who kind of evolved to take a life of her own. She's been a lot of fun. But yeah, this, I mean, it was great for me for the time. I was testing a lot of shading stuff I hadn't messed with before, but it's rough. This isn't perfect, but man, it's come a long way. Thanks, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I just need to... I'm still stinking bad with color schemes. It's better than last time. They're not just random, but I've got to get a skin tone on this that's not blending into the outfit, and I need a better... Oh, my ArtFight tag? I've actually got an ArtFight command right for it. For anyone who doesn't know what it is and drops by. But yeah, I need to... Oh man, I'm going to have to prep to do attacks next month too. This is going to be a fun couple of months of streaming. This is like my favorite season of the year for streaming, because we've got ArtFight, and then like a little bit of downtime, and then I jump into like Swordtember, or is it Swordtober? Well, one of those 2 months has swords, and it's another one of those just like daily drawing challenges, and it keeps things so lively. It's just, there's always something fun to do. Like, I enjoy the long gaps where I can just work on individual projects too, but like, man, these months are just exciting. Let's see if we can't make this look less jaundiced, I say, as I aim for an even more washed out skin tone. Jeepers. Problem is I'm trying to make it contrast with the overall brown design. I'm gonna have to, we'll see. Then we'll get the shadows and highlights sorted out. But yeah, no, it's been fun. I don't know. I've mostly just been low-key trying to work out the color palette today. I spent like 20 minutes yesterday trying to get this to work with hue instead of color before I realized that gray doesn't have any saturation, so all of the hues are going to be 0 saturation and just look gray. Oops. Ah well. Live and learn. Actually, hold on. Nope. Paper color on top of this, not great. Maybe I work out the tunic first and then the skin tone. I know, I've been itching to do it the whole time. I feel like I think I started streaming in the middle of ArtFight last year, and so it was like hitting the ground running with like frantic character sheets and like everything. And so I've been like my whole year of streaming has basically been, can I get good enough to do ArtFight better? But yeah, no, I was making my first character sheet on like the 15th of the month last time. I was like, oh no. Oh yeah, same, absolutely same. That's part of the fun. And it's fun, like, because every once in a while you'll be like, hey, by the way, like, here's the drawing, and if you want to see how we got there, here you go. Oh, that's a good emote. Hold on, why is the hover not going away? The hover won't leave. Yes, refresh? Sure. Cool. Oh man, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do when it gets to the time when I need to start designing emotes. Oh, I know. Like, big projects for ArtFight, it's like, it's difficult because you're like, do I do a couple of really big ones and lean all in on those, or like, do I just spread around and try to get as many people as I can? And I've kind of like, I don't know. I like to do at least like half body ones just because I enjoy getting like more of the characters in the design. But anything too big and you're like, I'm missing out on other ArtFight. It almost feels like being at a convention in a weird way. You're like, do I do the big panel or do I go to a bunch of like vendor hall stuff? Everything you do, it feels like you're missing out on something. Okay, that's, I think, definitely going to end up being too washed out if we do it for the tunic color. Yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah. Oh. I've got a couple more years of practice I need to do before I'm getting into maps, but like they're so fun. And the results are always so fun. I remember it was probably years ago at this point. The first one I really saw was that old like Game Grumps Battle Kid one. I don't know if you've seen that one. It was way back when I was super into that channel, and it's like a 15-minute map. It's got so many creators who participated in it. And I saw the ArtFight ones from last year, and oh man. Yeah, I know. And ArtFight especially, like on the one hand, it's great because it forces you to actually like make up your mind and do things, but also it's so tense. There's like so much to do. Am I? Okay, hold on. Saturation, that's the issue. It is the saturation that's the issue. Okay. Not enough contrast on that. Maybe too orange? I mean, it pops, but I really kind of want to go for a more beigey thing. Yeah. Oh, that's how I found like my favorite ArtFight like from last year. Did an attack and they attacked me back, and I think it was my favorite. It was the favorite like attack that I got or received. And it's just like sometimes you just go out and you're like, oh yeah, let's see who's out and about on the fight today. Nope, too gray. Saturation problem again. Keep it high. Keep it sandy, maybe. That's gonna be similar. Yeah. Go too yellow, it's going to be awful. Yeah. Getting into least popular color territories. I know! Theirs was so stinking adorable. It's such a good style. When I saw that one, I was like, ah, crud, I need to get better at drawing Salt just so that I can actually draw Salt well enough to match it, or at least, like, live up to that. It was so good. Like, crud, I'm no longer the best artist who draws my own OC. Not that I'm complaining at all. Nope, that's still just as... It's gonna be more gray, that's the issue. Gonna look stinking jaundiced. Oh boy. Skin tones. I need to research skin tones one of these days. I mean, I guess more pink is probably makes sense with human colors. I'm gonna just do a quick fill, see if this looks decent at a zoom, and then we can clean up these edges if we actually want to go with it. Well, it contrasts less, so that's probably bad. This looks like a recolor of a sepia drawing. Oh boy. Oh, I know. I'm one of those... Well, I guess my streak was broken recently, but for the most part, I've been one of those forever DMs. So I've got just like a stinking backlog of all the NPCs and characters and background stuff that I've come up with, and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure these will even see the light of day in a campaign. I need to draw them at least once. They need to get a little bit of time in the sun. And there's so many fun character ideas. All my best OCs are from Dungeons and Dragons, and like, yeah, I know you end up with so many background ones, but like, part of D&D that works so well for it is because you're collaborating and have to play off other people. Instead of having to go through those exercises where you're like, okay, what would they do in this situation? What would they do in that situation? You get to just like react live and like end up in situations that you yourself would never be able to have come up with for your hypothetical scenarios. And so you can really play off of everyone else, and it's so much better than like just sitting there with a chart and being like, okay, favorite food, favorite color. If someone insulted them, what would they say? You're like, no, someone just like chucked a bear at them after a fight over the price of like stinking acorns or some nonsense. How do they react? I should mention my D&D campaigns are a stinking mess. I love my players and my party, but like, so help me, they get on the most absurd tangents. That's the fun of it, though. Hold on, we can at least... There we go. Yeah, oh yeah. The only way I've gotten around that is by making the initial character design like fairly like over-exaggerated on one characteristic, and then just playing off of that characteristic until they become more well-rounded. Like, I had one named Galinden who was the stinking worst. He was a dwarf, and he was the worst. You know Prince Charming from Shrek? That personality. Just extraordinarily pretentious and takes everything as an insult. Everything. And so that got into a lot of terrible situations, but I could react more like him than me because it was so... His personality was so intensely strong and awful that I was like, okay, my natural reaction would not fit him at all, so I have to figure out what he would do at least a little bit. And then, as we got into the campaign, I got a little better at figuring out, okay, I think I get his vibe a little more. But he started out fairly, like, one note, to be honest. He got into a bar fight with a chair. Not like using a chair, he got mad at the chair. There was someone sitting in the chair who ended up getting involved, but they weren't the target. And I got one of the other party members to join me in the bar fight against the chair, so I was pretty happy with that. Okay, let's see. But, like, I don't know, I would have never come up with that scenario if I was just sitting down and trying to write, like, short story about Galinden. There's no way I'd have ever gotten to that point, so... I like it for ideation. I mean, that's why Salt has worked so well. Because she's an NPC that I can sort of throw into multiple campaigns, I've gotten to bounce her off of a lot of different parties of characters and different reactions, which is probably why she's my main OC, is because she's just had the most interaction time with everyone, so I get how she ticks more than most of the others. We're getting too many random gray patches in this. Let's see. That skin tone is better, but it's still... Everything is on the same, like, reddish-brown gradient, and while that does kind of work for Salt, I want it to pop a little more. Maybe the solution isn't to make the tunic lighter. Maybe I need to lean more in on the boots color a little more. Let's take this, let's make it even... Okay, hold on. Let's actually take the base color we were using for it. Go even, like, a little more red. Not too much. A little bit less saturated. That's a fun character. The ones who are just kind of like exploring the world and can bump into it, like not quite fish out of water, but just going in with curiosity, are some of the best ones. I had a player who decided to be like a rock. Oh, dang! It's always awesome to hear about a character that actually finishes a campaign. I as a DM, always underestimate how long it will take to get to plot points. And so I'll have a campaign that runs for 3 years, and I'll be like, we're 1/3 of the way through the story, and everyone went to college. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Let's see. I like that better for that gray. Yeah, it's so easy to underestimate how long things will take. I know, yeah, but I mean, I've had campaigns that run like 3 years and still don't finish, and so I'm like, okay, I should probably like trim down the plot a little bit, like not a ton, but a little bit. Like, oh man, it's fun though. That's part of the fun of Dungeons and Dragons, is you can just end up in these long and winding stories, and you never know where you're gonna land. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. Having multiple campaigns with breaks. The trick is the real winning trick is if you can get someone else to DM one of those other campaigns so that you can actually get a like break from DMing too. Which, admittedly, my current party's been really good about. Everyone sort of has different stories they want to tell, so that's been fun. Okay, there we go. I'm liking that better. We've got better contrast between the cloak and like some of the accessories and the hat and stuff. Skin tone's probably still a little bit flat, but I'm not too opposed to it, frankly. It looks okay. I think once we get highlights and shadows in there, that's going to work better. And rather than just making this a multiply, I'm going to actually try to do that like trick where you use slightly off colors to make it pop better, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when you're the forever DM. I was the DM for the entirety of my college experience, and like 2 years after it. So it happens, but eventually you'll find someone who does it, or they'll get curious. And it's funny how much like once you get your characters to DM once, they start to react differently once they realize what it actually is like behind the DM screen. Not necessarily more helpfully. If anything, my players just got more devious, so that's maybe bad, but it's been fun. The other option, I was in a campaign like this once, where because it was so episodic, we ended up having rotating DMs for each section. So that way people who weren't willing to DM like a whole campaign were willing to do like a couple of sessions, just something interesting. And you like already have most of the characters in place, so you don't have to do so much from scratch work. It was a better way to introduce players who hadn't really done it before. Or one campaign way back when I was just starting, my group someone else was DMing the main campaign, but they would let me DM like dream sequences, so it didn't mess with the plot, but still got experience, and I got actual experience being the dungeon master. So there's some, you got to be kind of clever with it, but there's ways to kind of fit it in, sort of. But yeah, it's the hardest part of convincing people to pick it up at all, because they're like, oh, but I've got 16 character ideas I want to play, and it's like, yeah, so does the dungeon master. That's the fun of it. Let's see. Yeah. Oh boy, I've just realized that my base hues, one of those fills just went and covered the whole layer. Oh dear. Oh well. Right, hold on. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's figure out what this brown actually is and make sure that we get it into our color palette so we don't lose the darn thing. Okay. Let's figure out what the skin tone is too. And cool. Oh dang. That would be a fun character to play off of each other and like just any other party. Because that's, oh no. That would be such a chaotic bunch. But those are like the best campaigns, is when you get just really kind of off the wall ideas and let them play off each other. Let's see. This was our main color. Yeah, that's the tunic. Put away the shadows and highlights for a second. I feel like my party has eternal clown energy, even though none of them play clowns. And that's not a judgment, because I do too. Let's see. Let's clear that one out, because we're not using that one. Let's clear this one out, because we're not using that one. And this one. Alright, we'll sort these into a halfway decent palette later, but I want to at least have the right things. I'm kind of liking the red gems on the boots. I may turn around on that later and undo it, but we'll see. But yeah, no, Clown Energy campaign. I've got one player who's playing I forget what they're called. They're basically a giant crystal humanoid that only like came into existence 6 weeks before the campaign started. And so their lack of understanding of the world has been like the primary story driver by accident. It wasn't supposed to be, but it's just sort of happened, because they'll get on weird tangents and like drag the other players into conversations of like everything from like how do you know what time it is to like how do things die, and they've gone on just the weirdest stinking random tangents, but it's fun and it gets the other players thinking about more than just the default storyline, and it's led to some very funky character interactions. Oh, I mean, that's fair. It's hard to get out of your comfort zone on the first few. But yeah, for me, the hardest part with new players sometimes is if they're uncomfortable, sometimes the other players accidentally run over them, and I'm like, okay, wait, no, hold on. I'm going to specifically call out new player and say, hey, were you thinking about something? Because if I don't, then they'll just like never speak up, and then eventually they get better about it. But yeah, everyone's got their own comfort level with stuff, I suppose. I'm not gonna pretend I'm perfect at it, but like it's something I realized I needed to do, or else they'd never get a word in edgewise. Yeah, as the DM, that's kind of the hard balance, is trying to make sure you get everyone's opinions. Because some people are going to jump in there and they're going to have the next 20 turns planned out and know what they want everyone else to do. And you're like, okay. And then other ones are just sort of winging it, which is fun too. Yeah, getting the ideas before the dice rolls is smart. I will admit, and I have admitted to my players this, the more oddball and probably like stupid the plan they come up with, I will probably give a buff to the dice rolls. Oh, you've got a party that likes to split. Oh, those are the hardest. I mean, they're a lot of fun in my opinion, but they're harder to dungeon master for sure. I think my party The worst one I ever had was they split into 3 separate groups and did not reunite for real lifetime 4 months. So I was trying to balance all of those different events across so many sessions. Yeah, if they can describe it and they're coming up with something that's just either it's clever or it makes me laugh, I'm much more likely to be like, yeah, that probably works. Yeah. Then there was a time my party split because one half of the party was actively hunting down the other half and trying to arrest them. That wasn't great. And it wasn't scripted. That was entirely of their own volition that they decided to do that. They got into an argument about whether or not they should steal a horse. It was very fun. Having them try to make stealth rolls and then like jump into separate audio calls in order to like have one group plan out how they would deceive the other one while they made their escape and then have the other person chase them down. It was hysterical, but it was so much harder to DM than if they'd just been together. Of course, then once they sorted it out, they lost the horse. Like I didn't even cause it. They got distracted and they checked it into a like stable and they never went back for it. So 4 months of chasing this horse and then they'll get it back later. So yeah, no. Oh, that can be fun in its own way. Especially if they count like if that includes like goblins and things that should definitely be enemies. You can get into some very wacky hijinks if you give them things where it's like, well, is that supposed to even be an animal? Oh, jeepers. If they aren't druids, they should be, because they're going to have quite the army by the end of this. Taming a mimic, that I've not heard of that one before. Oh, that's even better. Yeah, my party didn't tame a mimic, they just defeated it and then decided to use it as an actual storage case. That wasn't great. Not that it was, like, evil or anything, it's just that it was extremely unwieldy. Yeah, no, they're sharp critters. Not even sure you can really call them critters. Beings. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Oh, I should not tell my party members about this. The next time they run into a mimic, I'm going to have problems if they do. Because they... Oh, jeepers. Because they will absolutely try to... I don't know if taming is the right word. They did find a shortcut to the final room of a dungeon, and then instead of beating the boss, they basically forced him to be their tour guide through the rest of the dungeon. They kidnapped the final boss. I was like, oh, okay. He was not a very good tour guide. Yeah, no spoilers, but that's fun. Oh, that's fun. And they're actually taking care of it? Oh, that's the best. Alright, there's our shadows and highlights. There's our initial 6 colors. Let's see what we can do with these. Mimikyu! Oh, that's great. Man, I love just hearing D&D stories. Everyone has such different stories from their D&D adventures because every group reacts so differently, even to like similar circumstances. It's so fun. Okay. So for that, they went over here. The light should be warmer, and that's cooler. Okay, let's... Shadow should be cooler then. Let's go for some bold shadows and see what happens here. Oh, okay, first off, I want to make sure that I'm matching our saturation on things. Oh boy, which color was which? I shouldn't have sorted them. Okay, this was our boot tone, I'm fairly sure. Yeah. It's a great hobby. It served me very well through school and through the pandemic and just onwards. It's been great. That's the truth. I feel like I've gotten better at presenting at work after being a DM for so long. Like, it has forced my improvisational speaking to improve. I say using like 6 times in that sentence, but even so, I have definitely noticed improvements. Okay, hold on. If we hide the shadows for a second. Label my stinking colors. Okay, that's that one. This one is our skin tone. And this one is our main cloak. Nope. Nope. What is that one? Not that either. Is it the skin tone? It is the skin tone. Cool. Okay. Then this one's our tunic. Yes. I'm writing that down. Okay. Cool. The other ones are a little more obvious. Yes, yeah, that's absolutely true too. Streaming absolutely forces you to get better at improv, and at just communication in general. Like, you never know who's gonna wander in, and what their sense of humor is gonna be, what they're interested in, interests and so on. It makes it an adventure, and also stressful sometimes, but worth it. Okay, so we've got this one. Let's jump down here and see if this contrast is too much. We may be getting a little too exaggerated with that. We'll see. Going to... Yeah, that might be too intense, but we'll find out. Around here again. Then. And I'll be honest, I started streaming not even with streaming really being the goal so much as just hey, I don't practice art enough. Why don't I make it so that I'm liable to a bunch of random strangers, basically, and that I've committed that I'm going to practice my art at least this amount every week. And I gotta say, it's worked pretty well for that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I have so many VODs that I'm pretty sure are just me talking to myself, but honestly, it's been a pretty good way to sort of work out thoughts and just ideate and come up with ideas. And I don't know, it's been fun. Chatting to an empty room ain't so bad. And chatting to a room that maybe just has a bunch of lurkers is pretty fun too. So this is our... Oops, let's not put that on the flats layer. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I figured I might have auto-filled a few things wrong. Let's fix that real quick. Oh yeah. I've always said, this ain't school. Participation's optional. Y'all are more than welcome to just hang out and chill. Good, that layer's looking pretty good. There will be no final exam. You're welcome to just sit back, use this as background noise, do whatever you're actually trying to do with your day. Oh, there is a final exam for you? Uh-oh, I need to be careful next time I join stream. There's our shadow hue. Oh, right, it needs to actually be a stinking color layer. Ooh. I've only caught your art streams. And I've played so much modded Minecraft, I don't even, like... I was about to answer watermelon juice. That's definitely not in the game. Okay, let's see. Pumpkin pie is always a fun choice. That's what I'm going to go with. Wild, off the wall, yes, probably, but... Hey! Yes! It's the best one in the game, though. What are the odds? Minecraft... Oh, jeepers. Yeah, and it's like the right balance of crafting to eating it, and you, unlike cake, you can kind of actually carry it places. It's just fun. Yeah. Also, I love the idea of fueling myself entirely by scarfing down pumpkin pies. Okay, nope, that's still not right. Got this clip to the... Oh, right. Perhaps these shouldn't be clips. Oh, maybe they should. Yeah, it's got that right balance. There's shadows. There's our shadow hue. Oh, it's because stinging my pen is the wrong color. No wonder. There we go. Only been doing digital art for how long? You'd think I'd know how to use the basic tools by now. I'm gonna hide the highlights for now. Except for all the highlights that are apparently on the wrong layer. That's fine. Yeah. Get these roughed in for now, and then we can tweak them later. Oh, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, thank you. I'll definitely have to catch you on there. Go have fun. And thanks for dropping by the stream. Let's see. Man, I'm so excited for ArtFight. Keep an eye out. You may get an ArtFight attack if you're not careful. Yeah, I'm the same way. I appreciate it, though. But I'm going to have to wrap up soon-ish anyway. I got work in the morning, so... Oh, yeah. ArtFight's going to be a blast. You have a good one. Thanks. All right, now let's jump into these shadows and see if this extreme contrast is too much, or if it gives us something that's a little bit fun pop. That's what I was afraid of. It tells me I actually ought to clean up my shadow layer, and that might be a smarter thing to do the remainder of this stream. Let's do that. We got a few minutes left. Let's not get too far into the shadow hue thing yet. That might be good for the next stream. But let's do a little cleanup. Set everything up for a really great kickoff for next time. A little favor for future us. Challenge of this is the erasing well. Oh, jeepers. I've thought of a terrible, terrible VOD title for this. Jeepers, I'm not even sure it works as a pun. It just, for whatever reason, my brain was like, race to the future. Erase to the future. No. Most of the stream isn't even a racing. I shouldn't call it that. but I really want to. And I'm down for more stupid video titles. Okay, let's see. I should really clean up my shadow edges in general, shouldn't I? Well, I'm okay letting them be a little more organic, honestly. Is that my intentional choice? I'll leave it as is. I need to, as much as I'm loving the Stardew music and the Passpartout music, and I am loving those. And at some point, I'll probably work them in even without whatever final playlist I do. But if I ever get enough time in my routine, I don't know what's happening there, to like do proper video editing, like not full-on edited videos, but just like a bit, I need to sort out a music playlist that's the stuff I want to listen to on stream, and then a separate one that is the stream or the VOD-friendly stuff. Because like, I'm kind of tired of YouTube VODs dictating what I can listen to while I do art. And granted, I've had a lot of good options. There's a lot of good music out there that's copyright free or at least friendly to people, so I can't be too mad. But it's something to work on. That's not even the shadows layer. That's probably... I thought so. Guess we can hide the flats at the moment, yeah. And these shadows are real rough and tumble, which I kind of like. We'll see if I like it as we keep going, but at the moment I like it. I just don't like it with all of them sneaking out of the boundaries a little bit. There we go. Get back in the lines just a little bit. Not saying you can't express yourselves, but like, I mean exactly what I'm going for. Wow, how on earth? Some of these, the fact that it was a clipped layer doesn't really excuse why that's in that much the wrong place. Was I trying to do like border ridges there and that intentional? Maybe I was. Things to try out. Okay, cool. That little gap was just there before, so don't need to worry about that. Let's instead just keep on keeping on. Okay, salt shadows. Re-add the shadow hue, and it actually stays in the lines a little better now. A lot better for some of these. I probably should have done a consistent degree down the wheel on the edge, but you know, we'll start with winging it, and if we decide that the palette ain't working, then we can tweak it. We'll have, I'd say the whole next stream, but like I probably ought to start on a new character sheet next week, so I need to like get some stuff prepped for that probably. I make no promises though. This week is, I suppose, about as busy as the others. That is to say, every week in life. And things happen in life, just in general, so weeks seem to remain busy. Frankly, I really can't complain that much. By and large, I'm, not to brag, but I'm fairly fortunate in terms of having weeks that are busy with interesting things. Or at least generally positive things. That's not a challenge to fate or anything. I recognize that wheel turns. But at the moment, I'm, I don't know, I'm in a happier place. It's nice. Well, it certainly wasn't the worst place possible. I was not in a great place in college, so I'm so much happier. Graduated with a job, consistently doing art, although not so much crafts anymore, and I do so miss the hands-on crafts. Those are so much my jam. Even as we get better at digital art, like, both my interests and my, like, I don't know, natural skill set are so much more, like, handcrafts. Like, I don't necessarily particularly like writing characters, but I love creating, like, not even art, just, like, I don't know, fan stuff. Craft things that you make with your hands. Jeepers, I still need to finish that Minecraft lamp I started so many years ago. Didn't say I always finished the darn things. Like, oh man, if I can ever figure out how to do paper crafting on stream and have it be both interesting and not a horrendously terrible strain on my hands, because if you think digital art is bad for your wrists, doing that stuff, imagine all of the line precision you need for, like, drawing, but having to push down hard enough to cut through with an X-Acto knife. It is murder on the wrists. I learned that the hard way. So, but handcraft stuff is still so much fun. I love sewing, although it definitely doesn't seem to stream very well. Not in terms of, like, people don't watch it, but just in terms of it's hard to get good visual angles that don't also, like, hurt. You need a pretty solid, like, consistent design setup for that to work well. I don't know, there's people who do glasswork and blacksmithing and such on stream, so anything's possible. Man, I wish I'd properly learned how to do blacksmithing. I'd at least have connections to a couple of blacksmiths, so it's probably something I could learn if I really, like, really wanted to go that route and commit to, like, convince them is it worth apprenticing, and then, like, commit to the time and energy it would take to do that. But that is such a cool handicraft. And I don't know. I feel like the two hardest crafts, the two that have evaded me, so many crafts you can at least, like, sort of do halfway. I've only got, like, you can do it badly, but you can still do it. But I think there's only one craft I know that has, well, two, but it's for the same reason, that have just completely defeated me. I cannot do them at all. I need, like, proper classes or something. No matter how many different times I try, how many tutorials I watch, things I read, guides I follow, taking pauses and restarting it, these things have utterly destroyed me. And the first one is stinking crochet. Dag nabbit. It's so hard. And the hardest part for me is because the material you end up working with is so three-dimensional and the physics of it flopping around, whereas, like, my mental image of it is two-dimensional, and so I can't ever get anything to line up right. And the other craft that, for the same reason, has been my downfall is, and it's funny, sewing doesn't do this, but it's like the creating a length of fabric, because the other one is chainmail, making chainmail. And it actually is very similar to crochet in, like, some conceptual ways, which is funny to me. But and knitting and some of those other ones where you're basically generating a layer of a flexible fabric-y material. But I don't know, those ones are so difficult for me. So I see those as my, I don't know, my white whale. That challenge that I'm probably going to run ashore trying to achieve someday. I feel like saying crocheting is my white whale is maybe either the most hardcore way to say something not hardcore, or the opposite. It's the least hardcore way to say something intense. Thinking crochet. Why? Why does it hate me? But we'll get there someday. And in the meantime, we're doing digital art. And used to, sketching and digital art were what I considered my ultimate nemesis. Like, the untouchable, never would even consider it. So, I'd say we've come a long way from those days. Okay. There we go. Shadows, not perfect, but looking a heck of a lot more cleaned up than they were. And then getting in here with some of these, we're going to have to be a little careful with some of that. I've basically just done random things, but does make it pop. I can't deny that. It just might be a little too pop art. We may mitigate it down a little bit. You know, we could go to like here on the color wheel instead. Maybe even here, but this is fun. It's fun that it gives it that extra little kick. In fact, while we're here, let's put the flats back. So our main tunic color, I'm just going to go over main salt on the shadow hue layer. Now that it's all clipped and mapped properly, let's just go nuts with it. Catch all the shadows with this one. And then we can tweak and adjust a little bit as we go. Ooh, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Okay, I should probably use the Milli Pen for this, but eh. We'll soften it a little bit on the skin tone areas. Not a ton, just a bit. Make it a little more fitting. To the extent that this is fitting in any way, shape, or form. And we'll get to the highlights too, and that's going to be a real fun time. Okay, and then let's get, for this one at least, let's get the hat and boots color going. Because once we got the shadows in the right place, see, this is part of the reason that I was so keen on like getting the shading layer in a different layer and doing the values first, is because it means we can mess with this part so easy. I know we'll do the gemstone in another one in a minute, but for now, I think this was actually that. Can't remember exactly. I'm gonna go with it for now. Yeah, I mean, this does feel like it fits a little better, just matching the saturation. And then going nuts on the color wheel. Let's see, there's one important detail up there we're gonna have to tweak in a minute here, so don't y'all let me forget to do that. I know I'm going over time at this point, but like, I'm having fun. It's hard to not when you're having fun. The black shadow doesn't really matter for the most part. So like, I'm not gonna worry about going over those lines. Oh, we're gonna have to get the white like details in here too. But I'm glad we did the tunic at least, because it had a lot of little like fidgety bits. Not fidgety, fiddly. Difficult to like catch. The catch being, okay, the detail that I said don't let me forget is that because I've sort of alternated the hat color for this patch and the tunic color for this one, this patch in shadow should actually be using the tunic shadow color, which will make it pop a little better too. Cool. Okay. Skin tone, got whatever the heck is happening with the mouth. We'll sort that out at some point. Okay, let's get our reds. There's not a ton of those. Well, that one's really bold, but it's also tiny and infrequent. Like, I'm not even trying to bother with shadows in the cloak part down here. Yeah. Ah, there is one place where it'll happen. If I'd done every shadow tone in a different layer, it would have made this part easier, but it would have also, while we were still figuring stuff out, it would have been awful, because we'd constantly be moving stuff from one layer to a different one. So that's a trade-off I go back and forth on constantly on what I'm like, well, should I do it that way? Or should I do it the other way? Shadows. Don't think that's the right way to do that. Let's grab our actual, like, thinking shadow color for, what was the shadow for the red? Ah, okay. Right, it wasn't red at that point, so it didn't matter. Throw that on the shadows layer. And just do a little itty bit of cleanup just because the red really pops. So it's super obvious when it's not covered right. Like, I'm not even sure I technically need to get the blue to cover it, because it blends in well enough now, but I'm still going to try to. A little off there, but that's fine. Okay. Probably ought to be a little shadow cast on that red too, but I'm going to leave it... Well... Hold on. In the shadows, let's just do the top of this, because it would have some shadow from the tunic at least. Get like a little bit on that too. We get to this layer, and yeah, it's got that purple, but it could be this lovely, rich, deep blue. That's not right. That's the wrong layer. Really kind of an indigo, which is a lovely color that gets underappreciated. Oh yeah, purple shading might be excessive, but let's actually kind of like the purple shading on the black better than or whichever one. I guess that's the main tunic color, because when I go back and color it in with this, it's going to end up being just thinking black shoe again. And I know blue is a fun, like a workable shadow tone for black. So methinks the purple should be too. On the other hand, this does like pop pretty well. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the tunic one and apply it to the hair too. At least the hair shadows. Problem is, I don't know if that shadow's on the hair layer or not. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Oh no, it is on the shadow layer. Oh, it's just that shadow is so intense that nothing's gonna mess with it. Okay. That is fine. Let's get a little cleanup on that. Alright, the last one I want to do, just because it is also a little more glaring than most, is let's get the shadow for the white. I don't know if I should have gone the green direction or like downwards to the cooler colors instead with this, because it's already fairly blue, this piece. I wasn't sure which direction to take the shadows on it. I don't know if this one's the right one or not. I'm going to wait until I see the final result before I make that call. Honestly, that works. I don't know. I could go for something here and have, but it's still not going to be like anything crazy. And it's going to kind of blend in with the shadows on these other reds. Yeah, no, actually, I like the green better. That's not the right one. There we go. Catch that little bit of the tunic over here. I'm debating. The purple might be too much, but also it is fun. It also might be too... Wait, we could just tone it down a hair. With just like a little bit of a warmth to it, as opposed to all in. Yeah, it's a little less distracting, but it's still believable. On the flip side, though, that pop... The problem is that, like, I don't have enough highlights to, like... Yeah, let's make the highlights their own thing. I think they stayed within pretty well because there's barely any of them. I don't have enough highlights that are going to be able to do anything useful with this. Like, hold on, let's... Shadows. Light. Because, I mean, honestly, like, the glasses are just kind of a glasses color already. I guess I could give them a slight blue tint, but... Or I could give them, like, a slight yellow tint? Would that be a reasonable counter? We take this. Take it towards the warm. Take our highlight hues. And we just go nutso. I mean, it messes with the hair, but other than that... And the nose. But there's not really much highlighted. I don't like that much detail being drawn to the hair. I prefer those being kind of subtle. Yeah, I don't hate it for the glasses. It doesn't make much impact. I really couldn't tell you where the gaps are in that. Up in the nose. Yeah, see, that's the problem, is our highlights are just too faint. Well, I'll leave it at that for now. We can pick up the shading on the reverse salt next time. I say that, we're so close on it, we may as well. Like, I'm not going to mess with the highlights on that, but, you know. Shadows, though. And that one, the stuff that's in there is already matched correctly. I guess that's a fair question. Are there actually highlights on this layer? There's one. It's mapped badly. These should be highlights, but they're on the wrong layer. Interesting. So funny, because that does not look like the size that it is. Not like a 60, but just like a gentle like that. Feels like I'm doing nothing, which is kind of funny, honestly. I want this one to kind of catch all the way around. And we'll clean up the edges on it. Then I'm really only going to worry about highlighting the back of the boots. No, apparently I've got two different tones going on here. So this is just a mess from start to finish. That's fine. There's other stuff that probably ought to be highlighted, but I'm going to leave that the heck alone for now, in the name of maybe actually finishing this. And honestly, once we had the design sorted out, this character sheet's gone pretty fast. And even, you know, accounting for that, it's gone fairly quick. Like I don't know, that original one also probably took about the same amount of time. But given how much more we're actually like doing and planning, I feel like we're net improving on our time. Okay, so hold on. Taking this out of account, and these. Well, actually, these. Get this color. Come back. All of these. And instead of going towards the violet, let's go all the way up here. Dang it, this one's also going to be just so low saturation. Because I'm dumb and I needed the boot color. There we go. Or the hue. Well, kind of both. Let's try this again. On just the highlight hues layer. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to work super great. But we'll try it. At least I've revealed where the highlight sections are. Yeah, they don't flash. Ooh, that's kind of an interesting whatever's happening there. Ah, well. Guess that was the right one. Had some fun ideas for how we're going to do the final colors and stuff on this, but that I really like the display of colors and the descriptions and stuff, but that I really will save for a future stream. As opposed to blathering about stopping and then not stopping forever, basically. Let's see. On the wrong layer. Like this is gonna, like I think of salt as having a mostly like reddish color scheme, and I worry that this is going to completely skew that. I don't worry that much, because I'm perfectly fine with that happening, but... There we go. Oops. Oh, hold on. I'm still on the... Am I on the skin one still? Dang it. Tunic color. Let's actually use the right color, given that we went to the effort of picking it out. Nice, that is the tunic color. And I don't know what was happening there. Huh. Oh, I think it was... Oh, it was on the wrong color for at some point, at least. Ah, yeah. I was totally using the skin color still. Oops. Let's get the hat and boot color real quick. Some loose ends up there. And a few other places where hat and boot actually do show up. I think we were liking that for the shoes, so I'm going to keep that going for the shoes, even though it's not technically the right color. Still fun. I also want it for whatever's happening here, because that should definitely have shadow there, and it should be this. And I want it for this. Now this is the challenge, because this needs this one. Then very tightly in this area, we still want the tunic color. We're going to have to get pretty specific in here. This should still be tunic. And these shadows that it's casting on the tunic should be the tunic shadow color. Get a little bigger. I'll prevent loose pixels. I don't know what's happening there. A flat issue? Huh. Oh right, because I moved the line and I never cleaned this up. How about that? Yeah, there might be a shadow there, but that angle of it wasn't right, whatever it was. Okay, let's come back. Let's get this and clean up our loose ends on the shadow hue section. Anything that's on the bag itself should absolutely be this one. There isn't a ton, but there's a bit. Don't know what's up with that. It's fine. Hat shadows check, boot shadows check. Not sold on the highlight hues with that. But not sold on not having them either. Like, there should be at least brown. I guess the secret is I'm not sold. Wow, okay. We'll just have to deal with those boots. There'll still be a little touch up to do next stream, methinks. But that's okay. Get the skin tone one, get the other hand. The only other skin tone showing here. Really not the best brush for the job, but it's a good enough brush. Probably gotta have deeper shadows in the palm too, but Wait, shouldn't these be... Oh, I guess the red's in heavy shadow too. Ooh. Means we get to break out the really bold one. Yes. Let's go indigo. Oh, I'm... Right, there's just a lot of shadow happening. I think I'm... I don't know, the art equivalent of a typo there. Maybe a slightly finer point brush to get these edges. And everything's in shadow. Oh man, I've done a bad job on that. Let's try to do that a little less messy this time, shall we? Okay, I thought this side would go a little faster. I may have to put some of it off until next time. But I do think we can at least finish out the bulk of the shadows. That's just a... That's a highlight. That's a highlight. Okay, I'm gonna hide the highlights layer. We can sort that out later. Then I'm going to grab our lovely shadow for the cloak, and I think that's probably going to be it for tonight. We'll have to sort out the boots still. And the main, not even the whole of the boots, just the highlights. Yeah, you know, I kind of like this. Not quite seafoam. A little bit too green and a little bit too low saturation. It's a really nice color. Like, I feel like you could paint a hallway this color and it would still be a little bit too saturated, but like, it would be okay. Or there'd be a good use for this color for something besides the... As much as I like this color, it is giving me a very slight spoiled milk vibe, not gonna lie. Oh, these tattered edges are harder to do the colors and stuff with. It's funny, I always think like, oh, coloring, that doesn't add that much time to the process. And I see artists talking about it, and I'm like, what flow do they use? And then I actually do it, and I'm like, oh, right, I have a process, and if I say the process in my head, it only takes about 10 seconds. If I want to actually do the darn process, it takes a little longer than that. You know, the bold color shadows is actually making me realize that this whole thing probably ought to be in shadow. Let's hide our color for a second. Here's the thing. I feel like that ought to even be like one shade darker for the stuff that's already in shadow there. So no, not that one. Let's clean that one a little bit. The stuff that's happening in here. Then most but not all of this strap. And then most but not all of the top. Oh, right, but those need to be like the slightly less harsh shadow. Okay, hold on. We'll go back down a peg. This shadow... Well, you know, this is one of those things where you really got to plan out your light source, because when I started with this light source idea, I did not account for this much shadow being on this piece. Like, I don't hate it. I think it's been interesting. But it also was not something I necessarily planned for. I was just like, oh, how will it line to work with the face? Which, I mean, was the right thing to prioritize, but still. Wait, not on the shadow layer, on the shadow hue layer. There we go. There we go. Now it's not obviously like not in shadow when it should be. Honestly, having the color difference or the like varying the hue of the shadows, regardless of if this is too much kick, it has made it much easier to find shading mistakes. So I can't deny that has been worth doing. Okay. If I turn the highlights back on, because I like them on that piece, and I come back over here, and on the highlights layer, I just erase whatever's happening there, because I don't think it's that important. And then let's just deal with the boots. I don't think I actually want to have highlights on the back of the boots, because if there were going to be highlights anywhere, they ought to be where the light's hitting boldly, and none of these are that. They're just where it's hitting somewhat. Problem is that, hold on. Okay, hold on. Yeah. I've added that in the shadow section. When really what I ought to be doing in that section is just adding a little bit. What were we like size? 60, I think. Just letting the natural color shine through a little bit. So let's just do a little bit of erasing. And do the same for this back edge over here. You may want to clean it up a little bit, but like, oh yeah, we don't even need to worry about that one. Okay. And the same for this. Okay, that is looking better. Oops, no, actually, what is happening with that? Whoa. One of those, I need to grab this color and just fill it. No, it's got to be on the hue layer. Oh, yeah, okay, it was. Easy fix. I overthought that. Okay, honestly, I think that's kind of it for our salt design. This has been fun, even though we've gone wildly over time. I'm really enjoying these intense shadows. We may temper them a little bit in the final piece. But, like, I don't know, even then, like, we could probably do a little more and still have it be kind of fun. Doing, like, 80. Yeah. Somewhere in there feels a little better. Always land on 75, but even the bold one's, like, not terrible. Just a little bit muted. And yeah, I probably won't do, like, the last little details, like adding text and the character and signature and stuff on this on stream. We'll take care of that a little bit later. People are going to love my very dumb, like, because I know what I'm going to do with this, and what that is instead of just including colors like a normal person, I'm going to include the values, and then I'm going to include the color, or the hue saturations, and the shadow hue saturations, and I guess the highlight. And I guess wish everyone good luck. And we'll see what happens. But what I want to do, and we probably... You give me a second. Hold on, yeah. If I'm looking at this, we probably have too many grays in here for this. Too many values. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6? Okay, maybe we have exactly the right number after all. If that works, then this would be the best. And I'd be so happy. We can take the flats out at this point because it's functional without them. Basically followed that process. That's been nice. Go ahead and put that somewhere at the very top. And then I know I've got these on the flats layer. I'm actually going to... where's my selecty tool? Where did I put it? Selecty boy. Oh, lasso? Yeah. When did it get up there? Or actually, more importantly, when did it not get up there? I thought I'd moved it up there a long time ago, but it definitely wasn't last stream. Anyway, let's cut this to a new layer and value key. Hide the flats. I can do this. And what I want to do, and then not doing this on stream. Well, actually, unless there might be a tool for it. Polyline. No. Polygon. 6. We can do a hexagon. We can do this. Or actually, we can set the color to our nice value here. And, hold on. Let's mess with the line weight real quick. Size 10. That's probably going to be too much. Nope, that's going to be nice. Basically, if there's 6 of each of these, I just want to do hexagons. Yeah. And then I don't even necessarily want lines separating them. But I may have to use, for my selecting area thing, a polyline just to kind of get some sanity on this. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Because what I can do is, shouldn't do this on stream, but I'm probably going to. Let's grab the darkest one in here. I guess that's the hair. Okay, there might be more than 6 for specifically the gray scales, which is disappointing, but that's okay. Polyline. I really ought to put the hexagon on a separate layer too, just to make sure it stays clean. Put that onto its own layer. I'm actually going to chuck these into a folder. E. Still going to put it above the flats though. We've got that. We can grab our darkest option, fill it, not the whole thing, just this. Till it actually hits the border. There we go. Polyline. Grab our next darkest one, which is this one. I grabbed one of the ones I didn't necessarily want to grab, but that's okay. I'm actually okay with doing it this way. Why did I start there? Oh well. An easy solve. We've got that. Good enough. Okay, there's our second darkest. Get our third darkest. And basically keeping up with what we've been doing. A little bit messy. There's probably a better way to do this, but I mean, it is working. All right, so there. That was, let's see, black, mostly dark. That's boot color. Let's get tunic next. Or do we want this one next, and then tunic, and then skin, and then we're gonna have one extra, so we may have to do like a little bonus in the middle. That's fine. This next bit is where it's going to get difficult. Also, okay, no, that works. Like it's encroaching a little bit, but it's fine. Wait, we wanted, that was tunic, right? No, that was tunic. Here's where the fun begins. I thought it escaped a little bit out. Hold on, I can peek that away real quick. A little off, but that's fine. Select, polyline. Wait, no. Here. Center point. Here. Fill. Yeah, I figured the middle's going to get a little off with these last two. That's okay. We want skin tone, and then we're going to have the cloak tone, so that's going to be a little bit off. I don't know. I feel like most people don't bother putting values in these. Maybe some people do. Let's see. Then I need hexagon real quick, but this time just fill. Be that really bright color. And oops. Oh, okay. That's actually really handy that it just emerges from the center. Here we go. Now we have values. And we're going to have to move all this stuff around, but you know. Another one. Put this one above that one. Merge the two. Merge selected layers. Cool. Had a feeling that would become you. Rats. Okay, hold on. Easy fix when I don't do something dumb like that. Boom. It's interesting that I've got more values than colors. Hope I'm not forgetting a color. That would be embarrassing. Okay, so hold on. First off, we can grab... Trying to go darkest to lightest is not going to be the easiest thing to gauge with colors like it was with the last. But I'll do what I can. Yeah. Oh, maybe we just like semicircle it all the way around. Just gonna do the skin tones in the order. Well, the skin and boot tones. Skin tone looking things. Yeah, this is faster. At least for now. We're still gonna get into a bit of a mess once we get past this point, but less bad. Problem is that I have to nail this center point, so why don't we do it first? And we've got a lot more flex with these other three. And we have to get it right again, basically. But starting with the center point makes that much easier. There. And I see that little bit of excess there, but let's just sort that out. Polyline to the rescue, mayhaps. Center point. Like, get around whatever's happening there. Fill that in. There we go. Perfect? Not at all. But, you know, acceptable. And we'll label those. And then I was doing the copy layer. I should have just done the other one. But if I had the borders, it's, yeah, awful. Okay, let's see. Could just try to draw another hexagon, but it is so much easier to keep them all the same when I just copy them. Alright, and then we'll just move this layer over. Then we'll move this layer over. Then we take these three and we merge selected layers. Boom. Back to our key. As expected, that's put some stuff in awkward places again, which is fine. Whoops, I've got the wrong layer selected. We'll have to spruce this up a little bit. I'm honestly not sure why I'm still doing this on stream other than I've just kind of gotten in the zone. So I'm sorry if I'm like, I genuinely don't know if I'm talking or not. To be fully honest, possibly I've been muttering to myself this entire time, or that I haven't said a word. It's the latter. My apologies. Didn't end up using that black one very much, but I'm still going to leave it in the key just in case. I'm going to try to match these to where their color sections are too. Oops. There we go. First few are the easy ones. The others have gotten easier now that I've sort of figured out how they work. Hold on. I want to bias this a little bit in the other direction, actually. Not a ton, or else it'll mess with the main line. But this will make, oops, double tapping worked there. Through sheer chance. Right, this one next. Only double click, but it was right. But just this way, it'll bias it towards easier to cover up with the final color. Hold on. Actually, whoa, that's giving me like cube illusions, but really weird cubes. Oh, yeah, right, hexagons do that. A hexagon is the outline of a cube at a very specific angle. This kind of has Tesseract vibes. Not the Avengers one, although I guess kind of also the Avengers one. I'm going to actually just go for lasso. Try to nab all of these onto their own layer just so that I can keep them in their reference. Rough. And hide it when we need to, but we'll be able to use that to label everything else. In the meantime, I can take these, also put back the rest of salt. Where'd my lines go? There we go. Nope. There we go. Take these two layers and just like sort of pop them down there. May have to make them smaller. They're probably a little distracting right now, but that's just kind of fun. I guess I ought to put the signature on it too, probably. Given that her main color is red, let's stick to the red. I realized I forgot to do the arrow point on this one. There we go. I thought it looked bland. Of course, I've gone and done a fairly bland job on the... What layer did I even put this on? Well, it's on the color value key. That actually kind of works. Oh, jeepers. I'm still streaming, aren't I? I should have let all of y'all go to bed. We'll do final labeling and cleanup off stream. Don't y'all worry. But, in the meantime, I'm going to try to redo the P&H real quick. That'll be the last thing for the night, I promise. Oh, what was like a 20 or something, right? Yeah. Then it was the red. Maybe not a 20. Yeah, I'm just getting the pressure wrong. Hey, let's go ahead and just toss this one since we can't vector erase it. I probably need, whoops, need to just let these lines go. There we go. Need to nail the curve in one stroke. Not there yet, though. That'll do. Well, and of course, fresh might be, maybe it was a 7. Okay. Can that be edited out? Yes, but I'm not too worried about people doing that right now. I should post it to ArtFight before I post it to the Muffant Discord, but I'm definitely gonna go check it over there once it's done. But yeah, I will wrap this one up and get it posted to ArtFight since we just went ahead and stinking did everything. Oops. All that's really left is, I don't know, putting her name at the top and then labeling what each of these things are. So that's not much work at all, but it is too much for this late at night. So we will be wrapping here. Sorry for going so crazy long, everyone. It's gonna be a fun one. Fun one to upload anyway. It's gonna take forever. But I'm actually super happy with how this is turning out. I'm going to. I don't even know. I guess we're done. I don't even know what to think. I wasn't expecting it to be done or like this, but it looks good, and I'm having fun with that. So I guess, yay, I'm excited. We'll move on to other ArtFight things for our next streams. I know it's going to be a couple more days until the next one, because we've got that weird Sunday, Monday, Tuesday schedule thing going. But yeah, I'm debating. Should we do Olivine? Should we do Vladimir? There's a couple of character options we can try to get put up there. But that will be something that we figure out next time. So until then, I hope you all have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever it may be. And hope I see y'all next time. Have a good one.